We're going to derive the quadratic formula for 5.3. That's one of the things I'm going to do here. I will be expecting you to be able to derive the quadratic formula. It's necessary to fully understand the process. So let's start with the standard equation for a parabola. Now, what we're going to do is the quadratic formula helps us find the roots of the equation, or in other words, it helps us find the x-intercepts. That's what we're looking for here, x-intercepts, because that's what it will give us in the end. X-intercepts imply that y equals 0. Y is 0 when a graph crosses. So if we have a graph that's whatever, every time this graph crosses the x-axis, and this is not a quadratic, but every time this graph crosses the x-axis, the one thing that's true about every one of these points is that the y value of that point is always 0. So we can just jump right to that. We know that 0 is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now we're going to kick out the constant, just like we did when we were completing the square in the last section. So we have the opposite of c equals ax squared plus bx. Now we have to make sure the coefficient of x is 1. So how we're going to do that is we're going to divide this a out. Now we're going to take half of this value here and we're going to square it. So half of this, b over a, is b over 2a, right? And we need to square this. So that would be b squared over 2a. Oh, sorry, 4a squared. Now, how much do we add to this side? Well, we had b squared over 4a squared times a. That's how much we added. So we need to make sure that when we bring this over and add it to the other side to make the sides of the scale even, that we multiply this by a. So really what we should have over here is negative c plus b squared over 4a. That's what we really have. Because a times b squared over 4a squared would be b squared over 4a. So now we're going to go ahead and write this back down in squared form. So, so let's go ahead and just rearrange this so it looks prettier. B squared over 4a minus c equals a x plus b over 2a squared. Now we're going to go ahead and finish solving for x. We're going to divide both sides by a. So I'm going to divide this side by a. These will cancel. And I'm going to divide this whole side by a. And when I divide this whole side by a, it's like dividing each piece by a. So I'm going to divide this by a, that's what makes this a squared, and I'll divide the c by a. Voila. So now what we have over here, and let's just work with this real quickly to try and get this down into one fraction. I'm going to work it over here. We have b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. I want to get a common denominator so I can combine them. So I'm going to multiply this one by 4a on top and bottom. So I'm going to get b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. All right? So that's going to be what this becomes. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now, on this side, we've canceled out this a, so I'll go ahead and clean it up by erasing that. Now, I've got x plus b over 2a squared equals this amount. So what I need to do is take the square root. And that will cancel out this squared. Now remember, when you take the square root of something in an equation, you must note that it can be the positive or negative value. For example, if x squared was 4, and I took the square root of both sides, well, x could equal plus or minus 2. It could be a negative 2, because negative 2 squared is 4, or it could be a positive 2, because positive 2 squared is 4. So you need to make sure you keep track of that. So now what do I have? I'm going to flip sides, by the way. I'm going to take this and put it on this side of the scale and this on the other side of the scale. I get x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Now I'm going to take the square root of 4a squared because I know that's 2a. All right, and now what do I have? I have this on this side. I need to subtract b over 2a from both sides, so this will cancel. Minus b over 2a. And look, now we have a common denominator. Isn't this pretty? Opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Voila, we have derived the quadratic formula. I expect you to be able to do this for, we'll either have a quiz in which you will have to do this, or it'll be part of the test. Either way, it'll count towards your grade, and you'll probably see it again on the midterm or final, because understanding where the quadratic formula comes from and what it represents is extremely important to grasping many math concepts.